Hey mama, if you're pregnant, the chances are at some point in your pregnancy or labor, some form of intervention would be recommended or suggested to you. Here are some questions you should ask before agreeing to any intervention. First things first, you need to know what the issue is and how serious it is. Make sure you understand exactly what they're saying the problem is. Next up, how urgent is this intervention? The reason why you want to ask this is you want to know if you have some time to think about it and time to ask, or if it's something that needs to be done without further discussion. So make sure you understand the urgency. How is the treatment done? Make sure you understand the procedure, because when you know what to expect, it makes it easier for you. You're not afraid, and then you're able to know what's going on as things are progressing. How likely is it to solve the problem? This is a big one. What's the point of going through an intervention when the chances of it resolving the issue is like very slim? Would it be worth it in that case? If the intervention fails, what's next? You want to know what the next step is so that you know what you're signing up for. It would suck to agree to something, it fails, and then the next step for that failure is something that you're not okay with. You want to know the entire process so that you know that you're making an informed decision. Are there any side effects? This ties into the other point I made about how likely is it to solve the problem. So you want to weigh the pros against the cons. So how likely is it to solve the problem, and what are the risks with it? If it's not likely to solve the issue and the risk that comes with that intervention is high, then you probably should not go ahead with it. Lastly, are there any alternatives? You would be surprised at how quickly sometimes your care team is willing to send you to do an intervention that is so complex when there are simpler things that you might have been able to try and would have given you the same or very similar results. So I'll give you a real life example. Let's take Sandy for instance. Sandy has been in labor for 10 hours and her doctor says to her, "Hey Sandy, this labor has been going on for too long. We're going to have to give you Pitocin to speed things up." In this instance, Sandy would ask, what's the issue and how serious is it? The doctor might say, there isn't a serious issue right now, but I'm worried that the baby's heart rate is going to slow down, or the baby is not going to get enough oxygen if we go on with this much longer. Then Sandy would ask, how urgent is it? Again, since nothing is really happening, the doctor might say it's not very urgent right now, but it could become urgent in the future. Then Sandy would ask how the treatment is done, so she has a good idea of what to expect. The Pitocin will be given to you through your IV, that's the drip that's already been connected to you. When Sandy understands how the treatment will be done, she can then ask, well, how likely is this treatment to solve the issue? When Pitocin is given to you, it would make your contractions stronger and more efficient. So it's likely that it will solve the issue for you in this situation. Then Sandy would want to know, if the treatment fails, what will happen next? If the Pitocin fails to help labor go faster, because the contractions are so strong, it could actually end up putting the baby in distress. When the baby is in distress, what usually happens is an emergency C-section. So the answer to her question, if it fails, what next, would be an emergency C-section. She would ask, are there any side effects? Some of the side effects that come with Pitocin is that the contractions are so strong that they affect the baby and the baby goes into distress. Also, when the contractions are so strong, they're also so painful. When contractions happen naturally, there's something that happens in your brain that releases oxytocin to help you cope with the pain. But with Pitocin, this doesn't happen. So the contractions are likely to be more painful, which means mom, if she was planning to have a natural birth, she might have to get an epidural to help her with the pain. Finally, Sandy would ask, well, are there any alternatives? This question could be the difference between going through with an intervention or trying something else. And in this case, there are so many alternatives. Maybe Sandy has been laboring on her back the whole time. In that case, Sandy should try different positions: standing, squatting, rocking on a ball. She might also be very tired that the contractions have stalled or slowed down. In that case, Sandy could try taking a nap. She might be hungry or thirsty, then she would eat. Maybe her bladder is full and she needs to pee. She would pee. Maybe she doesn't feel safe. You can dim the lights. There are so many things that you can try when labor has stalled to help things speed along. And so in this case, Sandy would be like, you know what? Since it's not urgent right now, how about I try some of the other natural options? And then if it doesn't work, we can revisit the solution that the doctor is offering. So this is just one of the ways that you can take an intervention being suggested, understand everything that comes with it, and then make an informed decision. Don't be afraid to ask questions. At the end of the day, you are the one in charge. I know the doctors and nurses, they like to act like they're in charge, but it's your body, it's your baby. You have a right to understand what's happening. You're not a patient in this situation. I hope this helps. I'll see you in my next video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.